Hi there. In today's video, I'll discuss some high-level tips on installing a mobile radio in a vehicle, and then I'll show you how I have my equipment set up in my truck. So one of the first things you want to do is determine where to mount the radio inside your vehicle, and that can be in a console, under the dash, or if your radio has a relocation cable, you can put it under the seat and mount the face on the dash. As an example, the radio you're looking at here has a removable faceplate, and it came with a relocation cable that connects the faceplate to the unit. I chose not to go that route. I like to keep my mobile radios in pack frames, but I'll explain why a little bit later. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're running your wiring, it's helpful to use something that cancels out noise generated from different parts of the vehicle, and I'll show you what I mean. So ferret chokes or ferret beads, as well as noise filters, are a great option to reduce noise interference from the vehicle's electrical system, alternator, or other noise sources. This is a ferret choke. And to eliminate confusion, we're not choking ferrets. This is a ceramic compound consisting of a mixed oxide of iron and one or more other metals. I thought I'd throw that little Easter egg in there because some people have pretty short attention spans. I've used ferret beads like this one in the past on installations I've done, and a lot of hams use these to reduce high frequency electronic interference going to and from devices. And you can install a ferret choke on any point of the cable. Once you find a spot, band the cable in a loop and loop the end of the wire back so it's pointing in its original direction. So once you loop the wire, you can close the ferret choke until it snaps together. Placement of your antenna is another important consideration. One of the most optimal as well as safest places for reducing RF exposure is on the roof of your vehicle. Sometimes that's not an option though, and if it isn't, you can also mount your antenna on the trunk, bumper, or near the corner of your hood. In reality, you're going to end up picking a spot that's the most practical depending on what type of vehicle you have. There's a lot of different types of antennas, such as this magnetic mount diamond antenna. There are glass mount antennas. There are also some that require a more permanent way of fastening it to your vehicle. Whatever antenna you select, you just want to make sure that it can handle the power output of your radio, and you want to ensure that it's tuned properly to get the most optimal SWR. All right, once you've determined where to mount your radio and your antenna, you need to power your equipment, and you may be tempted to run your radio off the vehicle's auxiliary power socket or through the fuse box, but I would advise against this. The reason is, depending on how much power you're drawing, the wiring for the auxiliary socket or fuse box may be inadequate to handle the amount of current being drawn. As a result, you can cause the wiring to overheat and catch fire. The best way to wire your radio is to run the wires directly from the battery, and for added safety, include fuses in line.
Okay, I'm inside my truck, and my setup is probably a little different than most people's in that I decided I didn't want any of my equipment permanently mounted inside my vehicle. I intentionally put all my mobile radios in pack frames so that way they're portable. And that's in case I need to abandon my vehicle for any reason. And all I have to do is unplug the Anderson connector, which I've got one mounted here in the dash, and that feeds directly to my battery, and I've got a couple of fuses in line. And here I've got my antenna feed line coming in. But I also didn't want to risk any of my equipment to theft. Of course, you don't have to do it this way. This is just what works for me, and it's one of my communication goals of having everything as portable as possible. But I just wanted to give you an idea of kind of how I was running my radios inside my vehicle. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.